everybody, and welcome. I am your host, Shay Rippinger, and this is the Hoop Love Y'all show. And Hoop Love Y'all is all about health, humor, and hooping. So, we're going to get in and out in 20 minutes, so I'll try and cover whatever material I can that are part of my nuts, and we'll get started. So, welcome. Thank you for being here so much. I appreciate you watching, commenting, and doing all that kind of good stuff. So, hearts out to you. Thank you for being here. And let's start out with a lovely little laughter yoga exercise. So, take a nice deep breath in, and then we're going to laugh it all the way out. So, fake it till you make it laughter. Breathe it in, laugh it all the way out. One more time. Inhale it in and laugh it all the way out. Thank you very much. And we're going to take our hands together and we go, very good, yay. Very good, yay. And that is at the end of laughter yoga exercises. So that might be the first time you've laughed in the day. If so, I'm glad I was able to help with that because we should be laughing a lot during our days. So tonight's theme is newbie. So, newbie being a new person at something. So, like learning something or restarting or starting or however you want to look at it. But anyway, being a newbie, sometimes you feel like you might get left in the dust a little bit. But I want to let you know that, we all at some point become a newbie at something. So, obviously, when we're born, we got to learn all that stuff and unlearn all of our cool things that we know as an infant, as a child, which is neat stuff. And then we get to unlearn all that stuff as we become an adult. I like to, and hit the hoopla, bring you back to your childhood whims and that childhood sensibility and stuff like that. So, interesting thing, I wanted to tell you about. I used to study martial arts back in the day, and I earned a fourth degree black belt. But the interesting thing is, one of the things is like when I first earned the first level of black belt, the level of what you think, you think that's like the epitome of like, ooh, you're smart now, like, because when you work out with black belts, you're like, oh, you respect them and they've trained more than you, especially when you're a newbie, and so you have a tremendous amount of respect for them. But the interesting thing about black belt, once you earn it, you realize how much you don't know, which is a fascinating thing. And there was a neat story that I heard about, the story of the black belt, of how that came about. And that, usually a belt is actually used to tie a gi, which is the jacket that you wear in a lot of martial arts forms. I studied Jeet Kune Do, and so we didn't necessarily need to wear those for what I studied, but in a lot of more traditional martial arts, you do wear a uniform and stuff like that. Anyway, the belt that you wear, and you tie it in a knot and all that kind of stuff, it wraps around a couple times. I have mine hanging up there in the, right behind my hats over there. Anyway, my fourth degree one. And the story goes that the belt started out as a white belt. So literally in martial arts, when you start studying, you are a white belt. You start out as a white belt. And the story goes in ancient times that everybody started out with a white belt. You used the belt, and as you trained, the belt got dirty. So then it eventually turned black because you had trained so much. And then, interestingly enough, it starts to fade out and then turns back into white. So, an interesting juxtaposition of when you've learned and experienced, and then you go back to the beginning of knowing more, of learning and being a beginner, being a newbie again. So, that was a pretty neat little story that I like to recall. I'm going to be going over some hoop moves too, of recovery moves. And so recovery moves are some basics, but I also want to do some hooping on the body and moving it up and down the body. So not just recovery moves if you're a brand new beginner at hooping, but also, some like a little bit more advanced. And the reason why there's a double entendre to that recovery thing. I have, if you've been following my journey along with my videos here, I have recovered from skin cancer. I'm still recovering from the surgical incision of this, and it's really like inflamed today, but I got the stitches out, and interestingly enough, I went to the first gig back at my husband Double Bill's band, and I normally hoop at their gigs. I try and go to as many as I can and hoop there. But having gone through all of this, first of all, I didn't have the energy. It's been a month, kind of out of commission between getting the surgery, getting the news, getting the surgery, actually a month and a half, 2 months worth of time. And so anyway, I was just getting back into the swing of things. So I put on the good sunscreen, which I highly recommend. Good sunscreen. Don't get crappy sunscreen, because that helps promote skin cancer. And so I put on the sunscreen. Then I put on an armband over this because I didn't want any sun to get on it. Because also, like when you have a scar that's trying to heal, you don't want to get sun on it because it discolors the scar, so it makes it more prominent. So I'm trying to do all the right things to help this scar heal and recover it. And then I put on a long sleeve shirt. I was, covered head to toe in good sunscreen. And when I say good sunscreen, I mean this kind of stuff here. Good ingredients, not chemicals, good solid ingredients. So you pay a little bit more for this, but this is really good stuff. So that's one of my recommendations. Also, if you're going to be out and about in the summertime, another natural thing, I highly do not recommend the buzz, what do you call it? The off. Because it's all chemicals and it's really nasty chemicals. So this is Buzz Away. This is a natural insect repellent that has natural things in it like citronella and all kinds of good stuff. So, and it's it's not toxic like the other stuff is. So this stuff is just nasty stuff. So anyway, 2 recommendations real quick for skincare for summer, for spring, summer. Keep the bugs off of you and keep the sun rays from doing that kind of stuff that you need to get that kind of repair from. So anyway, I was out there recovering. I had the Band-Aid on, and when I got home, on the way home, I just started itching because the bandage was very, very itchy. And hi, Joan. Thank you. Welcome. Saying hello to all of my people that are joining me live. And you can still comment in the comments. I may not type an answer for you, but I'll try and address it within the context of the live video. So if you have questions or comments or anything like that, let me know. I'll try and read them. I'm reading the comments on Facebook. I don't have a split screen up for the YouTube feed. But anyway, so this became really itchy and very angry with me, and then started oozing and all that kind of stuff. So it's back to being, like healing and stuff like that. So interesting thing about being a newbie is a couple tips that I have. And one is when you're a newbie, of course, you want to learn about things from people that know more than you do. And, hopefully you get some good expert information. I've been listening to, for the past, 8 days or what have you, the Food Revolution, which was a free summit that was online. It's free while it's live, but you can buy the recordings of it at half price now. I think today's the last day of that. But anyway, some fascinating information, some really wonderful doctors that had really amazing information. If I have time, I will go through some of my favorite things that I learned this year. This is my 3rd year learning from this and listening to like 3 hours of lectures a day from some of the top names of the health industry, and when I say health profession, and reputable doctors, just some amazing people that have really spent a lot of time studying what they have and are giving some of their nuggets of information away in this thing. So anyway, going through that, so I was mentioning as a newbie, you want to listen to your teachers, learn some good information, and also on that note, you also want to listen to yourself and respect your own intuition too. So one of the interesting things I heard on the Food Revolution was for eczema and psoriasis, which I've had issues with, of itchiness, is to drink like straight celery juice, not mixed with anything, but straight celery juice. And I've still been itchy even though I've done a lot of the Candida cleanse. I've removed sugars from my diet. I'm not doing processed foods. I try and follow a vegetarian plant-based diet for the most part, and I'm trying to now get dairy out. So trying to kick dairy to the curb, which is a real tough one, especially for the cheese one. And there's one of the doctors that was on there has written an entire book just about cheese and the addiction that we have because it hits opioid receptors in the brain. Joan said, at 75, I am still a newbie. Yes, thank you, Joan. Yes, that is so true. I have a joke because my husband sometimes says, you're studying so much. You studied, one time he said, are you ever going to be done with this? Because I was on my way out the door to a workshop, to like elevation, which just happened this weekend. I didn't go to any of it, the belly dance weekend that's in Golden, Colorado. And normally I try and get to something of that, but I was going to that, and he's like, "Are you ever going to be done learning?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, I want to support the people that are teaching this stuff. I don't know everything, and and by supporting other people, then I cycle in because I teach as well. So I would like people to come to my class and spend money and help support me in my efforts to try and get information to the world as well. So it's a cyclical thing, but I want to gain knowledge, and so my joke, I didn't have a snappy comeback for him at besides I just left and didn't start an argument, but I when I left, I thought about it and I'm like, no, the day I stop learning is the day I'm 6 feet under. Because, every day I wake up, I have a goal to learn something new every day. So that's part of what I do, and maybe that's not in what you do, but, I find that fascinating. So, okay, I want to keep in on the time here. Um, a couple of things that I got from the food revolution, real quick, that I wanted to get across. I'll try and start out with some things. Glycosates. Okay, so I'm just going to hit some of the main ones. Glycosates. That's the chemical in Roundup, and it's interesting because not only do they use Roundup. So I was driving into the neighborhood the other day, and I'm watching somebody spray Roundup on their lawn in front of their small child, and I was horrified because I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't want this small child to get sick. I don't want the family to get sick. I don't want their pets to get sick. And I don't want to get sick because that goes in all of our groundwater. We're all nearby. So when my neighbor uses it, I grow organic, but those pesticides are coming over to me too. So when my neighbor gets his trees sprayed 6 times a year, I run inside, I bring the animals inside, and I try and spray everything down with water afterwards. But there's only so much we can do. But the things that we can control is trying to get in a good diet. So the glycosates are what's in Roundup. And interestingly enough, if you think you're buying organic and you're not getting any glycosates, if you're doing any wheat, this is one of the interesting things I've learned. They use the glycosate as a desiccant, which means they dry wheat with this. Why? I have no idea. To dry it faster, it's all about money and stuff like that. But so if you're eating wheat, you might be taking in more pesticides that you think because they use this. So you may be buying a non-GMO, non-genetically modified product, but you may still be getting this stuff in. So that was one thing. Another thing, one of the things that sometimes you need to hear messages over and over again before your brain finally wants to hear the message. And I've wanted to try and get off of dairy for quite some time. I stopped doing milk a while back, but I still did ice cream. I haven't done ice cream for a while. And they have a lot of good substitutes. So that's the neat thing about these days is it's a lot easier to become vegan if you want to go that direction, vegetarian if you want to go that direction, or just even go more plant-based and start removing meat and dairy and especially processed foods out of your diet. So, and that will help your immune system so that you can be happy, healthy, have lots of humor, and hoop more. So, interestingly enough, so with the dairy stuff, one of the things that they were saying that clicked for me finally was that they, to get dairy, to get milk, to make all these milk products, they have to keep the cows pregnant. So the cows are pregnant like 9 months out of the year. Now, I'm not sure of the gestation periods. Obviously a human is 9 months, approximately, give or take. But cows may be a little different in how much they have to produce. But basically, they have to keep them pregnant and hormonal to be able to produce the milk because, and also, we're the only species that drinks milk from another species. Milk is originally meant to bring a calf up to get them big and fed and give them the nutrients. So milk, and also with humans too, with nursing, um, that's when you're supposed to have milk, and the milk from your species. So milk isn't a thing that we're normally supposed to have. A lot of us don't have the enzymes to break that down. Some people have milk intolerance because of that, and issues with that. So you may have some low level allergic reactions that you may just be chalking up to, oh, I just have allergies or something like that. Try getting milk out of your diet or milk products, even just going a little bit at a time, and see if that helps, because that helps tremendously with allergies and sinuses. So give that a shot. The plant-based diet was an interesting thing. I've been trying to do that for a long time. So even if you're not like a veggie type of person, think of the economics of it. So to get the same calories, the same amount of protein from an animal source takes a tremendous amount of resources of water and plants. So when people go, oh, when they don't know anything about vegetarianism or just trying to go with a plant-based diet, they go, where do you get your protein from? It's like, where do you think the animals get their protein from? The animals do not produce protein. They metabolize protein from the plants. So you're kind of getting it secondhand anyway. So interesting fact. So, I heard things in a different way. Okay, last thing, real quick, is so if you're looking for, like I was talking to my neighbor today, and we're talking about the cancer stuff and the melanoma, he's like, oh, that's the bad kind. That's the kind that can kill you. And I'm like, I know. And as my mom would say, who is passed now from her second bout of cancer, going through that, of the cancer treatments, and I always use air quotes on that because she was on the chemo, the radiation, and the drugs, which killed her. So, I don't see it curing many people, but I do see it killing a lot of people. I've seen it kill many of my friends. So, anyway, there are other things that you can do, like refresh your immune system. So, drinking a lot of juice and stuff like that. Speaking of which, I have my handy dandy. I decided to listen to my body, and the celery juice wasn't quite cutting it for me, but the blend that I particularly like is carrots, celery, and cucumber. So I don't like cucumbers in other stuff, but I happen to like them in the juice. So it's kind of fun. So this has become really tasty for me now, because the carrots are sweet. So, but you get a lot of really good plant enzymes from this. It's very filling, and I highly recommend it because it really boosts up your immune system. And I've got to tell you that I'm so happy with the scale. Like, I got on the scale this morning. I took a picture of the scale because I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And it's like a goal weight of mine. And I'm like, I haven't seen that since high school, maybe. And I'm in my 50s now. So I was like, ah. So this plant-based stuff, there's something to it. So even just doing that, because I haven't done much physical activity, I am getting back into it and starting to do that. But anyway, some of this stuff is really good. So my body particularly likes and gravitates to juice, and it feels really good when it gets that. My skin starts getting itchy when I don't do this. So when I get more sugar in and the candida gets out of hand, then I know I need to get more veggies in my diet, and that helps my body regulate. So take that for what it's worth for you. Okay, so we're going to get into a little bit of hooping, and we're going to still try and stay on time. I'm going to run out of time in a moment here. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to turn that little so it doesn't go off there. Alrighty, so while I was in recovery mode, I wasn't able to do as much physical activity as I would have liked to have done, because I was supposed to take it easy, because basically I had a big slash on my arm. They got a teeny tiny little thing like this, but the thing was like this that they made the incision with. So, and then they sewed it back up, and it looks like they buried a dog bone underneath my arm. So it's still in a very weird, bumpy format and healing and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, with that, I'm trying not to do, chest hooping with my arms in. I can do chest hooping with my arms out. They said I could do aerobic activity. I didn't find that out till 2 weeks in. That would have been helpful to know because I started kind of getting into like a little bit of a depressed state because I wasn't able to do the physical activity, which helps build up your endorphins. So anyway, so I started just doing some basic waist hooping again. And a lot of people think that waist hooping is very basic and stuff like that, and it can be. Or you can make it more interesting and vital and different things. So I'm going to give you 3 recovery moves to begin with if you're a total newbie at hooping. So we usually have a current that we like, but I highly recommend hooping in both directions. So as I've learned, because I'm right hand dominant, I had to start using my left hand way more. And I also learned that trick from martial arts too. So if you get hit on one side and you only lead with your right or you only lead with your left, then if you get hit on your dominant side and you don't have your other side up to speed in almost at least try to be in an equivalent manner, you're only at 50%. So somebody can take you out really easily in that physical sense of like martial arts. But with hooping, if you hoop in both directions, you have the accessibility of getting more things available to you. So you can get in and out of moves quicker and stuff like that. So I highly recommend hooping in both directions. Okay, so recovery methods. The hoop, if you never have to worry about the hoop going down, the gravity will take place. And if you slow down, it goes down. Just remember that. So the first recovery move is the opposite of slowing down, which is to speed up. So if it starts going down a little bit, speed this up, and you can get this to come back up. So that's recovery move number 1. Second one is what I call a duck in. And so the hoop goes down, you're going to duck down into the hoop, and then you're going to do a little speed wind up in the direction that your hoop is going. So my hoop will be going to the right side for this demonstration. So I'm going to duck down, and I'm going to pick that back up. So a little speed wind up. So your hip is going to make contact with the hoop, kind of give it a quarter of a turn, and get this. That's the only time you need to go around with your hips. Otherwise, it's a forward back move. So try not to do this. This will get that hoop to go down immediately. So that a lot of adults think that that's how they hooped as a kid, but if you actually look how kids hoop, they do this type of hooping, which is a very small movement that you're doing. A little forward back with the core, again for waist hooping. So third method of recovery is my very favorite, and that is to turn in the direction that the hoop is spinning. So when you do this, your hoop starts floating at a slower pace. I call it 3 speeds of hooping. So the slowest speed is to turn with the hoop in the current, in the direction that the hoop is going. So if you're going to the left, again going to the left, or going to the right. Middle speed is staying in place. So this is slow, middle is in place, and that's middle speed. And then if you want to go faster, you go against the direction or against the current of your hoop. So I'm going to turn to the left while my hoop is going to the right. Now I have to go twice as fast to keep this up. But it is, so if anybody ever goes, hooping, I need more of a workout. Yeah, I'd say working your anti-spin. So that going against your current is called the anti-spin. So definitely try that. And keep your posture nice and tall. Roll the shoulders back. Keep the abdominal wall in. And this, when you're working with a bigger, heavier hoop, this is a bigger hoop for me. This is my 32-inch Polypro, which I haven't worked with this in a while, but working back to get back into my mode, this was, this is my sweet spot hoop of just like, oh yeah, it feels good. So what I was doing is working up and down the body. So those recovery moves are the basis and a great way to recover from a lot of different hoop techniques of hoop tricks that you're going to learn that are more advanced. So one of the things, if you are an intermediate or advanced hooper, you can try this out. where you're working the hoop up and down the body. So again, you don't have to do much to let it go down. Just slow it down and it'll go down. When you get it from the waist to the hips, you're going to need to be going a little bit faster to keep that on the hips. So I might need to be doing those recovery moves. I might need to duck down. I might need to speed up, and I might need to turn. And you can do all of those at the same time. So you can work that down the body and back up the body. You can even work that. I cheated on that one. You can work this up to the chest level and down to the leg level. So my hoop is going to go off camera when I go down to the leg level. Okay, so it's on my legs. I do not call that knee hooping because I don't want you hooping on your knees, but there we go. Up to the chest. So notice that I turned with it and did a little duck in and a little speed up, speed wind up and all that kind of stuff. So working the hoop up and down the body is an excellent thing to do to work your proficiency. And when you have it going in one direction, make sure you get that going in the other direction too. So that's going to get the heart rate going. That's excellent aerobic activity. So try those, the recovery moves and working the hoop from the waist down to the legs and back up the body up to the chest. So for chest hooping, you can get this going and start it underneath the armpits. You do not have to get this with the arms in. So I'm still not hooping on the arm just yet because I don't want to beat up my arm just yet. But pretty close. Next week I should be getting that going. So you can get a couple different techniques for chest hooping. One is to get a little rotation. This is where you can rotate. That's how I've started, and that's probably my favorite way to do it. But I also learned a technique from another hooper, which was just to go side to side, much like, or you could go front back, however you want to do it. But this side to side is really helpful and nice and easy too, so it's way easier. So I actually teach that version in my classes and give people both variations of how to try it. So you get this started, give it a good twist just like you would waist hooping and get that going. And you can turn with this to keep that up. And let's see here. Okay, so that side to side is kind of like so. And I'm actually taking my feet and doing this with my feet. So I'm actually, you hear the little foot tapping on there. That is my feet actually shifting weight and very quickly to go with the chest. So you can just do just the chest, or you can get it with the feet as well. So a couple techniques there for the hooping. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Okay. And, so again, some of these may be newbie moves. I try to give you a little bit more advanced techniques so you can take those newbie moves and go into some cool new things that you might want to try or add to your hooping practice. There's different days where you can and can't do different things. So, for instance, for me, one of the things is there are days where I sustained spinning, which means turning in a circle and, doing that, I get a little too dizzy. So I work on something else. So, hi, Kelsey. Thanks for joining. So, and Riva, hearts out to you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. So those hooping techniques, try those hooping techniques and see how those work with you. Again, we're all newbies at something. So you may be an expert at something and you may be a newbie at something. You may know how to drive a car really well, or you may not have ever learned. It's interesting because I find that some people don't even get driver's ed anymore in school, and it's like, what? Really? You have to go elsewhere and pay separately for that? But so that's been something that some people do. So in other words, we're all learning something. So I learned a lot from the food revolution, learned a lot of new things, reinforced some of the things that I already knew, and as Kathy Freston said, one of her sayings is to lean into it. So, rather than going into everything and changing everything, just lean into it. So, like, if you want to go into a plant-based diet, try a meatless Monday and go from there. So, and one of the quotes that I got from there, and I'll put some of this stuff up on the YouTube page and on the website link, www.hipthehoopla.com. the one of the quotations, which is one of my favorites, is don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So a lot of times we want to just be really awesome at something right away. But I have a saying as well, which is in hooping, when you learn, it's one step forward, three steps back. Because, it just, that's, you just have to start with the basics on that. So, when you're getting a move, you may remember, like, okay, I need to keep my head up on this, or I need to turn in this certain way, or I need to do whatever all the little steps are. Well, all these little steps, maybe you get steps one on the first one, maybe you get steps one and two on the second one, and maybe you get step three on the third try, but you lost steps one and two. But with more practice, you can start getting those all together so they all come together. So, when I went to become a vegetarian, I made what I call running starts at it. So it wasn't easy for me. And then, like, on my third try, I think, it was like a piece of cake. It was not a big deal. I didn't have excuses. Recipes became easier. It was very easy to convert things, and so now I'm trying to do dairy-free options and learn a new thing. And so I'm a newbie at one more new thing. I had gotten rid of, and this was before the skin cancer thing. I had changed over in small increments, leaning in over my makeup to natural cosmetics. So things that didn't use chemicals in them and use natural minerals, or things I could pronounce, or things I could actually make. So look some stuff up on Pinterest. You can make your own mascara and blush and lip balm and all kinds of stuff. You can even make your own sunscreen. So I recommended those two things. Also, speaking of vegetarianism, that third recommendation I want to give you today, there was this thing in Trader Joe's, and I'm like, I think I'd heard of this before, and I grabbed it, and I had no idea what it was. Anyway, it's called jackfruit, green jackfruit. So I was like, okay, it's like a bumpy looking whatever. So I got this, I brought it home, and I'm like, I have this can of something, and I don't know what it is. Luckily, they had a description on the side that helped me. And basically, if you want to start going with plant-based diet and you're looking for some meat alternatives, this was one I hadn't tried yet, and I've been predominantly vegetarian for many years now, and I hadn't tried jackfruit yet. So it said, green jackfruit, when cooked, takes on the appearance and texture of pulled meat. Pulled meat. Use it in any dish calling for vegetables, braised, or pulled meat in preparations from rice bowls to barbecue. So, you can put it with sauces and stuff like that. It's kind of an interesting formation of stuff. This is an empty can. Otherwise, I'd show you what it looks like. But I ended up eating it all through the week, and it was good. I cut it up and put it in eggs. It kind of, it's a different consistency, but I put it in eggs. I seasoned it up. I put it with like a taco type of thing. I did all kinds of stuff with it. So yeah, so those three recommendations: healthy, good sunscreen with not the chemicals. So spend a little extra, get some good stuff that will help prevent skin cancer. Don't use the crappy stuff that helps promote skin cancer. Don't do this if you don't have to. Buzz Away, natural insect repellent that you can spray on very easily, and green jackfruit if you're trying to go for a plant-based diet. So anyway, and PubMed, did I recommend that one already? PubMed, that one just stood out on my notes on my sheet of paper here, and I don't think I mentioned that before, but PubMed was one of the things mentioned in the Food Revolution. If you're looking for the studies of different things, the published medical studies, so when you're trying to convince, like let's say you have a spouse or you have kids or your parents or whatever of, this dietary change that you may be doing, and they go, oh, that's just a crock of hooey, or whatever they might say that is not very supportive of the positive, healthy changes that you're trying to make. Go there and start reading some of these different studies. So yes, there is published documented information, scientific studies. So go look at these, and you can use these studies for research. I've like read I'm still reading actually the book The Truth About Cancer, which is a fascinating book if you haven't already picked that up. Do read that one. I'm reading a couple of other things too, so I have bookmarks in several things, so I need to kind of hone it in and finish one and then get to the other one. But there's just such fascinating information. Anyway, all right, let's breathe and laugh it out. So thank you for being here. Take a nice deep breath in. Laugh it all the way out. Just doing the basic fountain laughter one. You can do this as a hooping one too if you like. I'll do it with the hoop. So you can do this as a breath in and just get your waist hooping in. Breathe it in, a nice big inhale. And then laugh it all the way out. One more time, inhale it in. And then laugh it all the way out. And then at the end of the laughter yoga exercises, second direction. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. So thank you so much for being here. I am Shay Rippinger of Hip the Hoopla. And tune in. I do this weekly on Monday nights at 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. And thank you, Reva. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I try and keep it to 20 minutes. It's about 20 minutes to half an hour. So today I'm very excited because I had lots of good information to share. So hopefully you got something out of this. Hit the like on my channel if you haven't already, on my YouTube channel. If you haven't already liked the Facebook page, please do that. I try and put out some good information. On Tuesdays, now that I'm back into the swing of things, I'll get my Tuesday tutorials back up and going. So on my Instagram page, so if you are interested in hooping tutorials, I had a lovely comment last week because I did a laughter yoga exercise and posted that on Instagram, which I don't normally post the laughter yoga stuff. And somebody was like, thank you, that made my day. And I responded back, thank you, your comment made my day. So yeah, when you share that love, that is so wonderful. Thank you, Joan, for saying that. She said, great information. Thank you. Great info. Thanks for sharing. Yes, so that's what we can do with each other is just, friend to friend, and share this information. Family members, all these people, that you care about and love. I don't want to see my neighbors get skin cancer. Turns out, I just found out today that my next door neighbor, like a few doors down, that's what he died from. So I was like, great, okay. So yeah, I'm taking this stuff very seriously. And also I knew about the cancer treatments he was going through. We helped him out with trying to give him info on getting the cannabis juicing. And when he was doing the cannabis juicing, he started doing really well. He was also doing some alternative therapies too. And then when he went back, a lot of times the medical system pulls you back into the chemo and the radiation and the drugs and stuff like that, and you don't take care of your health in the way that you need to. And he kind of got steamrolled by that and then went downhill so quickly on that. And it was really beautiful to see when he was on the cannabis juice and doing well and doing like oxygenation therapy and a lot of different things and healthy diet and juicing and all kinds of stuff. So there are these things that not only can you prevent, which is numero uno, prevent. If you can't, even if you get it, you can catch it early, hopefully, and start healing your own immune system by juicing, whatever the case may be. But juicing is a really great thing to do. Not just cannabis juicing, but vegetable juicing. So this is like a big vitamin pill that you can drink, and it's quite delicious. So this helps your immune system fight off cancer cells and other things. There's a whole host of things. So, and if you're interested in a really neat movie, a neat documentary, it's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And I'll put that link up in the comments on my YouTube page. It's a fabulous movie about how this guy totally healed himself, got off of his medications, and then ended up helping other people in turn. It's a really fabulous movie, very entertaining and very heartfelt, good stuff about, and we ended up getting a Breville juicer too after that. But he went in the middle of New York City. He was from Australia or New Zealand? I think Australia. And went to the worst place in the world with all the temptations of all the most amazing foods in the world and did a 60-day juice fast. So that's all he did was juice fruits and vegetables. And he lost weight, all of his health markers went up dramatically, and he cured the stuff that he was dealing with in 60 days by juicing. This was the only thing he did. I think he, like once you start doing one good thing, then other things start turning around as well. So you start getting into good physical activities, your relationships start improving because you're not so depressed and so down on yourself all the time. And you start getting out and having a life, and your self-confidence and esteem goes up. So there's a lot of good things to come about through good health. So I can't stress that enough. And the happiness alone, I personally, I'm all about the happiness. So if you can get happy, that helps bring everything along where you cycle the drain up as opposed to cycling the drain down. So one movement begets another movement begets, and a body in motion tends to stay in motion. And when you have one positive thing happen, it has a domino effect on other things. So just even making one small change, whether it be drinking more water, more alkaline water, juicing, calling up your friends and having positive conversations, supporting them in what they're going through, learning about new things, buddying up and learning about new things with your friends. Do that. Try it. It's really interesting what happens when we do that. My stepmom, not stepmom. I have two stepmoms. I call her Mama Joan. She's my mother-in-law, and she cured her breast cancer. She had the lumpectomy, and then she did the cannabis juice. She also researched the heck out of stuff. So she's a very smart lady. Her doctors called her stupid for not doing the chemo and radiation. She goes, I'm in my 70s. Why would I want to do that crap? And she ended up doing the juicing. She's way past 5 years of cancer free now. You drop off the charts after 5 years. So, but anyway, she's cancer free. She maintains her good health and stuff like that. And yeah, Reva said 60 days. Wowza. Yeah, just juice. Now this guy with the guy in Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead was very, very overweight, and his health markers were really bad, and he was on a lot of medications. So yeah, there's a time where and it usually takes a health crisis for most of us to make these changes. We might sort of toe dip in the water of these things, like, oh, I think I eat pretty good. I don't think I eat too many packaged things. I think I do this good. But when you come into a health crisis, all of a sudden it's I've heard it called the dark night of the soul. I've heard it called the come to Jesus moment. There's religious, inflections in those, but just that, where you have to, when you hit in for drug use or alcoholic use or any type of addiction, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you get it and decide to make the changes. So hopefully you do not have to hit rock bottom in whatever you may be experiencing. And for everybody, we're all going through different things. And so, there are times when things are going great for us, and there's times where things all seem to hit the fan at once. So, take care of yourself. Get lots of vitamin C in. When you're under stress, your body goes through a lot of vitamin C. Get your B vitamins and stuff like that. I think having this juice back is really helpful for me. It's really helpful for the skin issues. One of the reasons why my husband had recommended that movie for me, he's like, he has the same skin condition that you had. And he cured his. And so I wasn't as diligent to do 60 days of juicing, but I started toe dipping in the water, trying to get a green drink in. My goal was every day. That wasn't realistic when I first started. But what I first started doing, maybe once a week, where I would juice. I actually hit the juicer and I juice a whole bunch of stuff, fill a bunch of bottles. My husband taught me that trick, which was, fill juice for the week, kind of like how you'd prepare your meals. Yes, it's not as fresh, but again, that quote of don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So I would rather get some juice in, and when you buy stuff in the store, it's been sitting there for a while too. So when you make yours fresh, it's really good for you and stuff like that. So I just made 5 juices today. I'm good for the week if I only do one a day, but I'm sucking these down because it's helping my skin stuff. So I want to help cure, and not cure, but help heal this faster. The incision is like inflamed and all that kind of stuff. And so I want that to, my body to heal. And the body is a miraculous thing. It heals itself if you let it. And trying not to, do all the things that mainstream media might have you do. So, if you can stay out of the drive-throughs, bring your own snacks with you. That's one of the ways that I'm able to stick with doing the dietary changes that I've needed to do and wanted to do for myself. So it was a need thing, but then now I actually want to do it because, again, I'm highly motivated because I don't want to have this crap happen again. So, cancer, I highly do not recommend it. If you can learn from somebody else's, great, do that instead. So learn from mine so you don't have to go through yours. So 1 in 5 people get skin cancer. May is Melanoma Awareness Month, so I'll be throwing these little facts in there and stuff like that. But these days, cancers in general, it used to be 1 in 4 people, and now 1 in 3 people gets it. So of some kind of cancer, and so oh, please don't be one of those statistics. But if you're in a household of more than one person, guess what? You might turn around and one of those people within your household is going to be touched by it somehow, some way. So try and do the preventative maintenance. So this has been a long recording. I apologize. I wanted to try and keep this nice and short, but I'm passionate about this stuff, as you can see. So I want y'all to be happy and healthy and hoop as long as you want if you so desire. So anyway, I've got the doggies out whining out back because they're outside. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Love to you and happiness and great health. So peace out, rock on. All right, I'll see you guys next time, next Monday. Bye.